Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls of all ages, except 7-year-olds. Fuck you, 7-year-olds. Welcome to the Nerd³ Awards 2015, coming to you live from a hotel room because I forgot to record these earlier. Today we are going to be celebrating the very worst in gaming. Now, normally there's two awards. There's the Poop Awards, and then there's the non-Poop Awards. Poop is the bad stuff, non-poop is the good stuff. This year there's going to be 3 award ceremonies. Today, tomorrow, and the day after. Today is the Poop Awards. Now, these are the worst actual games. Today we're going to celebrate the worst actual games made by competent humans. Tomorrow we're going to have the steaming Poop Awards, where I will be celebrating the absolute worst bullshit to pile up on Steam this year because it's just a world of difference. There were bad actual games and none of them could compare to some of the absolute shit that fell out on Steam. So I decided to do 2 shitty game awards. One for the people who actually tried to make video games, and the other for people who should have been locked away a long time ago. And then the day after that, we will have the non-Poop Awards, where we'll celebrate the good stuff and everybody end with a nice smile on their faces. So I've tried this year, instead of just doing however many I felt like, I'm going to try and stick it to 10 for each. There will be 10 poop games, there'll be 10 steaming poop games, and then there'll be 15 non-poop games, because I couldn't get that list down below 15. I was like, there's amazing games in this bottom 5. I need to say they're brilliant. So, that's what I'm going to do. Today, Poop Awards, live from a hotel room, so I should probably talk a little quieter. Here we go. 10. The Order 1886. I think The Order actually did us all a favour. It eventually pushed the fact that games were getting cinematic so far and so cinematic that it basically just became a movie and nobody cared anymore. I think that may actually be a turning point. It may actually be a good thing overall. But as a video game, it was just a big kind of weird misaligned movie that ended in the fucking middle. 9. Battlefield Hardline is what happens when someone says, hey, I've got an idea, and no one tells them it's shit. Battlefield Hardline went, hey, you know that giant war game we make? How do we make it about cops and robbers? And everyone went, brilliant. How do we fit that into the giant war model? So it's sort of this mix of cops and robbers and big giant battles and stuff that just doesn't work and is very confusing and nobody particularly cared about for more than 5.5 seconds. 8. Motorcycle Club! Yes, if you ever want to recreate the thrill of driving around and then changing into somebody else and driving around a bit more and then changing into somebody else because the course has changed and somehow these bikes can spawn magically in there and all the bikes sound like hairdryers with amnesia, not amnesia, asthma, but also amnesia, and they forget their hairdryers and they're sitting around getting counselling. No, neither did I. 7. It's amazing how you can take a game from 10 years ago, remake it, and somehow make it nowhere near as good as that game from 10 years ago. It takes a lot of skill to do that, but thankfully EA, they managed to pull that off with Star Wars Battlefront. Yes, it's very pretty, yes, it sounds very nice, but it's got about as much depth and complexity as a Donald Trump policy. 6. No idea what went wrong with Hotline Miami 2. They seem to have the perfect formula with 1 and then fucked up with 2. It seems like the games are the wrong way round to me, because 2 is just bigger maps and kind of more confusing story, but with the bigger maps comes the fact that you can't see off the edge of the fucking screen and you have lots of cheap deaths. In Hotline Miami 1, every death meant something. In 2, deaths can just get frustrating. It broke the flow, it just wasn't as good. Great music though, but still. 5. Do you know the basic rules of rugby? Neither did the people who made Rugby 15, a game that just doesn't work, had horrible janky animations, was completely broken, the AI never even fucking moved, and it just kept crashing and just stopping. A lot. 4. Cities XXL was an odd one. It kind of came out just before Cities Skylines, totally not to capitalise on that very popular release, but pretty much every bit of it was just Control-C, Control-V over. Even the tutorial was fucking identical. It just seemed like just the laziest put-together game ever just to try and get some of the City Skylines money. And it probably worked. You bastards. 3. Everybody's gone to the Rapture. This was an unpleasant video gaming experience because it shouldn't have been a video game. It was a radio show that someone decided to break up, put in a completely random order, and then add really long walking times between every little section of it. And it didn't go together well. It was far too pompous for its own good, and 2. Godzilla. Oh, do you remember that? Do you remember the really slow, shitty brawler with the same every level had the same objective. Go and punch the big thing. Punch the shield generator and then question mark, question mark, question mark. You had to play the game about 1,000,000 times to get anything unlocked and level your character up, and it was weird, and it felt like it had a really tiny indie budget, but it was a full-price AAA release. And it gave off the vibes of the really crap PS2 games that you would get at Christmas from your kind of strange grandma who didn't quite understand what a games console was and would have rather bought you a jumper. Not pleasant. 1. Halo 5 Guardians. Now, for all the shit that the Halo series gets, this was absolutely thoroughly deserved for 5. One atrocious piece of garbage. Of course, I am in fact kidding. It was Metal Gear Solid 5. How the fuck could that ending be anything but the worst thing ever? I'm kidding, of course, because the gameplay was solid. It's Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 5. Fucking hell! It's the simplest thing. It's the simplest game. You just need to be able to make the man do the tricks and grind on the stuff. Just do the tricks and grind on the stuff, and you couldn't even do that. You couldn't even do that without it bugging out, without it being a piece of absolute fucking shite wank that's wanking into a shite or using a shite, whatever. It's a horror, it's an abomination. It's killed the series more than that piece of fucking plastic periphery bullshit that they tried earlier. It's horrible, and it just deserves a raspberry. That raspberry was too good for it.